Now, after a couple weeks forced hiatus, we're back with another Jujutsu Kaisen video. Now, here on Plot Armor, we had begun to cover JJK, however, unfortunately, soon after that, we were hit with multiple false copyright strikes, and with that, we were unable to upload. And not only that, but we even had the channel terminated also. Fortunately, that was only a day roughly, and while frustrating, at least it wasn't like our 4 months of absence last year. In an attempt to combat this issue in the future, we've shifted our editing style, something you'll pretty obviously notice if you're a frequent viewer of our content. Fortunately though, we're currently at a place where we can upload, and so we'll continue to do so. With that said, let's get into the chapter. We pick up where the previous chapter left off, with the reveal of Master Tengen. Now, Yuki was the first to greet him, but the others, Itadori, Fushiguro, Yuta, Choso, and Maki, were stunned to see the figure in front of them was now Master Tengen. When they first entered the room, time wouldn't be wasted. Immediately, Yuki would ask Master Tengen why he closed off the tombs of the Star Corridor. And instead of playing mind games or delaying the answer, Tengen would pretty simply explain that he was afraid she might be in alignment with Kenjaku, because after all, he doesn't have the ability to read the human heart. Yuki would respond to this puzzled. The name Kenjaku confused her it seems, but she would then have it explained that this name is that of the sorcerer who was once Noritoshi Kamo, and is now inhabiting the body of Geto. Yuki would make joke of the fact that the name Kenjaku suggests compassion and salvation, something of course missing in the actions of that man now. Itadori would interrupt this conversation and ask the question surely everyone in this room, and everyone just simply reading the manga would like to ask, why does Master Tengen look the way he does? Tengen would respond to this with a pretty light expression, reminiscent of that of an old man. He would say that he may be immortal, but he's not immune to aging, adding that after 500 years, Itadori would look this way also. Which is just hilarious because honestly up to this point, Master Tengen has been such a mystery. I assumed he was some kind of big intimidating figure, but as you can see up to this point, he seems like just a regular guy with extra eyes. Tengen would continue that 11 years ago, after failing to merge with a star plasma vessel, his aging accelerated and his self-awareness as an individual diminished. He became the world itself. Yuki would think to herself, wondering if there wasn't another star plasma vessel then saying aloud that this is the reason his voice doesn't proliferate. The others seemed to have enough of this little history lesson because Fushiguro and Yuta would both interrupt, letting it be known that they came here to ask about Kenjaku's objectives and how to open the prison realm. Master Tengen would again reply surprisingly kindly to being interrupted, saying that he wishes he could simply tell them the information they're after, but there is a condition to go along with it. Out of Yuta, Yuki, and Choso, 2 of the 3 must remain here with Master Tengen and serve as his guards. Of course shocking because, well, Master Tengen is immortal and comes off as an exceptionally powerful individual, and so Yuta and Maki would question this request. Yuki here would be simply annoyed that he didn't even tell them how long or why they had to do this. Master Tengen wouldn't simply answer this question like he did the previous one. He would begin speaking of Kenjaku again. Kenjaku's objective is to drive the evolution of all human beings throughout Japan. Nothing new there, Fushiguro would note, continuing by questioning why Kenjaku didn't use Tengen's barrier last time and then turn everyone into sorcerers by using idle transfiguration. There was a simple answer to that. He lacks the cursed energy to do so. We'd here learn that cursed energy refined through Uzumaki cannot return to the user. Put simply, triggering an evolution in each individual with a cursed technique is very inefficient. A bomb would follow this. The method of evolution that Kenjaku has chosen is the merging of mankind with Master Tengen. Itadori and Fushiguro would both speak up because isn't this supposed to be impossible for anyone but a star plasma vessel? And yes, that was the case before, but now after Master Tengen has evolved over the course of 11 years, it is now no longer impossible for him to merge with someone other than a star plasma vessel. Tengen would elaborate on why it's possible for him to merge with more than one person. Apparently, this body we see before us now is not really him. His soul has evolved and now exists all around them. He is the world itself now. A human that merged with him will transform into something greater than a sorcerer, a new being that is both there and not there. And let me just stop and say Gege is on another level in this chapter because the dialogue of Tengen is just pure big brain. Anyway, the reason Tengen is able to maintain the form present around them now is because he possesses barrier techniques. However, according to him, if mankind evolves, and even if only one person goes out of control, the world will end. Reason behind this being that there would be no boundaries between individuals. Evil would spread instantaneously. The impurity of 100 million people would flood the world. Itadori would in anger respond to this, asking why Kenjaku would do something like this. But like earlier, Tengen would respond that he does not know because he cannot read the human heart. Man is basically a god, but yes, he can't read the hearts of humans. So now, with this godlike being, you might be wondering why Master Tengen can't simply refuse the merger, and Maki would ask this. The answer is pretty crazy. Now that Master Tengen has evolved, he is more of a cursed spirit than a human being. This makes him a target for cursed spirit manipulation. Absolute horror filled the faces of everyone in this room. With this being the case, Master Tengen might be seized the moment he encounters Kenjaku, and that is why his body is rejecting everything at the tombs of the Star Corridor, and the reason he wants guards. Kenjaku is the most powerful barrier user after Tengen, and with that, Tengen can only say he doesn't know when the seal on the tombs will be undone. Not if they will be, but when. It would then be revealed that Master Tengen, the Star Plasma Vessel, and the Six Eyes are all connected by fate. In the past, Kenjaku has twice lost to the Sorcerers of the Six Eyes, the second time killing the Star Vessel and Six Eyes less than 1 month after they were born. Nonetheless, on the day of the merging, the Six Eyes and Star Plasma Vessel appeared. After that failure, Kenjaku switched to sealing Six Eyes instead because 2 bearers of Six Eyes cannot appear at the same time. Tengen would then talk about the appearance of Toji and Suguru, 2 people that, along with the prison realm which was found 6 years ago, made things line up perfectly the way they are now. Now, with all this, the question of why the culling games is happening had to be asked, and Fushiguro would do so, but Tengen would explain that this is like breaking the body prior to merging it. It's apparently not impossible to merge with someone other than a Star Plasma Vessel, but it is highly unlikely and would be incomplete at present. The culling game uses the player's cursed energy when the boundaries binding barriers in a ritual for conveying the humans of Japan to the other side. However, to do this ritual, Kenjaku has undertaken certain binding vows. For starters, he's not the game master. However, while this sounds favorable, it is not actually, because it means the games won't end even if he dies. The game will continue until all players are dead, or all the players refuse participation and die. There is, however, rule number 6. Players can extend 100 points to negotiate with the game master to add 1 new rule to the culling game. Yuto would now say the obvious reality. Their only choice is to participate in the game and add a new rule that Tsumiki and the others unwilling to participate can opt out. Fushiguro would add that they should also free Gojo because he alone could settle everything. Before Tengen would tell them how to save Gojo though, they had to decide who would stay. For this, Choso and Yuki would speak up at the same time. Choso would let Yuji know that he needs Yuta or Yuki's cooperation, especially if Kenjaku comes for Tengen. After all, ending his life would mean salvation for the brothers Choso is lost. Yuki would add that her reason for wanting to stay is to talk to Tengen more. Yuta would be alright with this, and so it was settled. Now Master Tengen would reach into a dimension of some sort and grab an item for freeing Gojo, the back of the prison realm. This shocked everyone, but essentially this is a back gate to the prison realm. Tengen thought that by sealing the near gate he was hiding the existence of a front gate, but it was of no use. Gojo was also sealed inside this back gate, but opening it wouldn't free him. Now breaking it open would require the inverted spear of heaven, which can nullify curse techniques, or the black rope that disrupts and cancels curse technique effects. While that might sound like there's hope, there is actually none at all, because apparently Gojo got rid of these items previously, essentially getting rid of the only items that would be able to save him in a situation like this. Yuto revealed that in Africa he looked for the remaining black rope, but that was fruitless. But there is still a way out of all of this. Among the participants in the culling game is a sorcerer from 1000 years ago, one who calls themselves an angel, whose curse techniques can extinguish any curse technique, Hana Kurusu. Now this sorcerer literally looks like an angel, interestingly enough, but more interesting than that is the fact that in this chapter Master Tengen said that he looks this way because he's 500 years old, but then at the end we see a sorcerer who's at least 1000 years old that looks like a teenager. And I'm sure there's some kind of explanation for why she looks so young, but it's funny nonetheless. The culling games looks like it'll be an interesting arc. I can't wait to see what'll come next. It looks like we'll be without Choso for a while, but at least we're back to seeing Fushiguro again. And not only having him back, but to have him and Yuji lighten up for at least a moment. Things have been awful for a while, and I suppose things aren't necessarily better now, but this is somewhat of a new starting line, and I'm glad to see them go at it together. But yeah, what do you think of this chapter? It was quite a lot of information, much more than I was expecting going into it. Specifically, I'm curious about your thoughts on Master Tengen. Personally, I was expecting something completely different, so I'd like to know what you guys expected and if it met your expectations. If you want more Jujutsu Kaisen content, be sure to drop a like on the video to help us out, and subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on to never miss an upload. We upload almost daily and would love to have you join in on our discussions. Until next time, keep that Plot Armor on you. I'm KJ, have a great day. Goodbye.